What's up, and welcome in to High Fiber Sports. Get your fiber in. I'm Doug. That bald man over there is Brad. Can't miss him. Very shiny. Guys, the NFL, the coaching carousel is in full swing, and we getting dizzy. Kick your feet up. Let's get into it. Brad, let's chop it up a little bit about these coaching changes going on in the NFL. 10 openings at the head coach position. Certainly not the usual suspects that we see this time of year. We got some of these top teams with vacancies that had to be filled: Buffalo, Baltimore, and of course you got some of the bottom feeders, we call them, that the usual suspects, the Clevelands, the Arizonas, the Tennessees. Sorry, Matt. We can't cover all of them. We'll be here until the next moon landing. So I just want to discuss with you, Brad, the top three, and we'll kind of go back and forth here, but top three of this hiring cycle. So I'll throw it to you first. Let's talk about your three most intriguing hires this offseason hiring cycle for head coaches.
Well, like you said, there's the usual suspects that are in there, the teams that are always going to be hiring and firing people every couple of years. It's on the regular, but there's a few that kind of I basically got two that I'm more intrigued on, and only one that I was like, that's a surefire, that's a good call, whatever. I'm going to start with the Falcons and hiring Kevin Stefanski. Like, that was, I don't know how I feel about that one. 6 years as the head coach of the Browns. He was 45-56, but he did win Coach of the Year 2 years in that time. Both the years where they ended up winning 11 games those years, but outside of that, they never won shit, and they sucked. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree. You win 11 games in Cleveland, it's like an automatic qualifier. You win Coach of the Year. It's just like a guarantee. That's how it works there, because it's just an awful franchise. The reason why I could like it, though, is the Falcons really needed an offensive head coach. Last two hires have been defensive guys, and they've been drafting nonstop with these uber talented offensive players, but it didn't really pan out. I think until the end of last year when they brought Cousins back into the fold, and he really showed what those weapons can do. So I've been waiting on this Falcons team to take off. Now he gets the right defensive scheme going there, and then he puts his hands on the offense, puts his fingerprints on that offense. I could see them maybe, he did win 11 games twice. As much as I made fun of his overall resume, he did win 11 games twice in Cleveland. So you think about last year in Cleveland, they led the NFL with yards accounted for rookies. So they weren't working with anything on the offensive end. A bunch of unproven guys, tons of rookies, and some of them played pretty well throughout the year. And their defense was spot on. Now, I think that's a Jim Schwartz thing. I think that's why he's pretty damn bitter that he didn't end up getting the job there.
Yeah.
And so I'd have to imagine he's probably leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what they get at DC if Schwartz does end up leaving Cleveland. But in Atlanta, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'll put it that way. Like we said, that's what we're going for. I'm not saying it's my favorite hire by any means, but if he can do what he pulled off a couple of years in Cleveland for the offensive side of the ball in Atlanta, God knows. I mean, just the Drake London, Bijan, oh God, tight end. Why am I drawing a blank? Tight end. Come on, help me out here, Doug. Pitts, Jesus. I couldn't think of his name off the top of my head. Yes. I mean, the guy that was supposed to be a stud, he was a freak coming out of college, and then finally looked like what he was supposed to be last year, especially the second half of the season. So, like I said, that is definitely, I would say, one of my most intriguing hires, and I'm curious to see how they end up, because I think the offense has potential. What's your number one on the list?
Well, real quick, you didn't mention Penix in there. You not a Penix guy?
Sure didn't.
I
Well, he
wondered.
tore his ACL 847 times. Yes, I
Yeah,
loved his arm talent. I was all about him going into last year, but Kirk Cousins clearly ran the
I know.
offense so much better. And honestly, the year before, I think that was due to the fact that he was just coming off an Achilles tear. I think the better quarterback started, and I'm guessing he's probably going to start all year next year. I
Yeah,
think Penix, he might still be good in a couple years, but I don't think he's a starter. I mean, it was night and day difference, but he looked like shit early in the year.
yeah, I
I
agree.
give me Kirk Cousins hasn't had that many bad seasons in the NFL. So give me him all day long. I think him and Stefanski can with the weapons they got all around, I think can have a hell of an offense.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see what they do with Cousins there. I did see everything flies around rumors and you don't know what's fake and what's real. They're talking about
Mm-hmm.
possibly that Kirk is either going to get released or something. I hope that's not the case. I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy, and I'm with you. I don't Penix. I haven't seen it. Kirk comes in. He's smart. He knows how to process. He knows how to run an offense. So I'm 100% with you. I think if they were smart, they roll with him. And I mean, dare I say, start over at quarterback? I don't know, and get a guy of the future. But
Yeah.
Yeah, not a
You
big,
can probably
not a
get a
big
couple more
Penix guy.
years out of
Yeah,
Cousins. So
yeah,
you can draft another guy and have him sit behind, both of them sit behind Cousins, decide if Penix is ever going to be a thing. But yeah, I think you've got to roll with Cousins, in my
yep,
opinion.
yep. Good stuff. So for me, a hire that I really think I like, but nonetheless intrigued by, Jesse Minter in Baltimore. Um, Big shoes to fill and some problems to fix, right? John Harbaugh was there for like 18 years, just the picture of stability. One Super Bowl win. I mean, it was a while ago, 2012, I think was the season against our San Francisco 49ers, sad face.
Boo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a that game sucked. I think I watched it with you. The power went out at the
It was
stadium
at
and
your place. Yeah.
yeah, literally the power went out and it was at that point that things turned around. It was something, it was weird. But anyway, obviously they have Lamar Jackson, makes the job super appealing. And what team has a year to year MVP candidate that you can go into and just kind of work with that? I mean, he can get you a long way by himself. I've heard some people say the defense is kind of what got John in bad waters. I really disagree. He had Wink Martindale there for a long time as the DC, 2000, I think 18, to the early 20, 21, 22, something like that. And then he had a guy, maybe you've heard of him, Mike McDonald was his defensive coordinator, and his performance got him a head coaching job. And here in about a week he's going to be leading his team into the Super Bowl. So, but he went with Zach Orr last year, defensive coordinator, and their defense was terrible. They were so bad. So bad. The rumor that I saw at one point, and all these rumors fly around, nothing was confirmed, but ownership wanted Todd Monken, who was the offensive coordinator, gone. John refused to do that. So I think John recognized if that was the case, John said, well, I can get a job wherever I want. I'll have a job tomorrow, which is exactly what happened. So he took off. I don't know if that's true or not, but the key for Minter is can he revive the defense? Which, if we're looking at body of work, all signs point to the fact that he can. He was defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan when they won the national championship. Harbaugh then goes to the LA Chargers. Jim, obviously the brother of John, went to the LA Chargers. First year, Minter, had the Chargers defense number 1 in the NFL in points allowed. Last year, number 2 in the NFL. Well, this past season, number 2 in the NFL in points allowed. So again, the defense, I think for the defensive side, I think this hire was great. This guy's been around. He's a Harbaugh disciple. They've tend to have worked out, especially on the defensive side of football. Now, the big thing is, what is he going to do with the offense? He's got Lamar Jackson. He's got Derrick Henry, got a couple good tight ends, got some playmakers. So who is he going to have in that offensive coordinator spot? I think it comes down to these younger coaches that are kind of coming up, I think ownership wants to see what is your plan for the offense, or whatever side of the football that you're not as strong on. And I think that's ultimately what gets him the job. Now, I did hear that Joe Brady was his kind of zeroed in, like, top pick for offensive coordinator. Obviously, he took the head job in Buffalo, but, you know, responsible for the rise of James Cook there in Buffalo. So I think that would have been a slam dunk. And it could be why Buffalo kind of promoted him to kind of keep him away from Baltimore. But the bottom line is you have the weapons on offense. What are you going to do with it now? Again, I think it seems very natural for Minter to come up and take a head job. I think that the way the coaching is going in the NFL, teams are taking chances on these coordinators without head coach experience. They're not looking for guys that have been around forever, head coaching several different teams. So it does seem very natural. No head coach experience. He did interim one game as head coach at Michigan for John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. But and they played Eastern Carolina, I think, and they won like 38-0. So take that with whatever grain of salt. But I like that hire. I'm intrigued by the hire. Great football. I mean, they've been good for so long. Had a down year a little bit, missed the playoffs, and be interested to see what they do in Baltimore with Minter this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And isn't it kind of funny? The programs that tend to have a Harbaugh on staff, they're very incestuous. They like to share their coordinators and whatever. Go figure they fire John Harbaugh and they bring in Jim Harbaugh as DC. Not really that surprised on that one. It makes sense for them to lean on the defensive side of the ball because realistically, anyone worth their salt should be able to work with that offense and score points. Like that, it's good enough. Like you should be able to get a just semi-competent OC to come in there and really be able to score if they can hold them down, like Minter's been able to do at both Michigan and in LA. So, and you kind of stole my thunder on the next one I wanted to bring up, which is who you were talking about, who they had stapled that OC, and that is Joe Brady for the Bills. I think you're exactly right, Doug. That was going to be one of my points. I think the only reason why he got the job is his relationship with Allen and the fact that he was probably going to get an OC or head coaching job somewhere else if they didn't promote him. Because you figure if he didn't believe in whoever the head coach was coming into the Bills, well, I'll just go somewhere else where it's ready to go. But I feel like it'd be really hard to leave Josh Allen. But I still find that one, I call it intriguing but confusing because the problem was giving up 30 points a game in the playoffs on defense. Josh Allen, the last playoff game he had was probably the only one that you could say was a lot his fault, with turnovers and whatnot. Usually he's going off like a madman, but his defense can't stop shit. So I kind of figured they would kind of lean defense, but I'm with you on that one. I think that one's intriguing because I think it was only a hire due to the fact that they were going to lose if they didn't keep him. And clearly they think highly of him. And he's been successful pretty much wherever he's gone on offense. So I'd be curious to see, did they say whether he's going to be OC and head coach? I assume he probably is.
I don't think he has a staff at all yet. He just took the job
think so,
recently,
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking on that one. But yeah, I think it's pretty simple to why they did it. It's definitely because of that. I honestly think Beans, who got promoted, is the problem there because they haven't been drafting well on defense. Like, yeah, sure, a few guys, but then they every year they seem to go after these aging pass rushers that sometimes pay off a little, but never enough and oft ended. I mean, we go from Von Miller to Joey Bosa. They always get these guys on the back end of their career to rush a passer. And maybe if they actually drafted some good pass rush young guys, they, McDermott might still have his job right now.
Yeah.
Because I truly don't think he was a problem. I think the players loved him and everything. So that one confused me. Who do you got next on your list? Or do you want to comment on the Bills?
Oh, yeah, I think, when it comes to that, I watched an interview today with Brady, Joe Brady, talking about how he's going to approach the thing that's weird for me is you have a guy who worked under the previous head coach who came up under that head coach, and now you get rid of that guy and you promote the guy that was brought along by the guy you just showed the door, and you have the same players in the same building. I mean, I think it's going to be a challenge for Brady to change the message. I mean, it's just, that's my opinion. And maybe he does it. I worry about now you're promoted and you walk in the same door with the same guys, and you have to change the perception of who you are. And I just wonder how that's going to go in Buffalo. What is he going to do better in that building than McDermott did? And I don't know if that's going to translate or not. Maybe it does, but I'm with you. Super intriguing pick there.
Yeah.
The second pick for me, or one of them that I have one of my three, got to go to Tennessee, the Titans, and Robert Saleh. I'm going to toss the numbers out the window. I don't have fancy stats for you. I'm just going to say that it's a pure feel thing for me. It's a pure, when I look at head coaches, you have the guys who you have their stats and their performances, and this season they were ranked this, and whatever as coordinators or their past records as head coaches. Robert Saleh is a leader of men. This guy carries himself in a way, he's calm yet energetic. Guys love him. He's got incredibly high EQ. He knows how to tap into guys' mentality and get them playing. Interview today that I saw, they're going to play fast and violent, and that's how, all gas, no brakes. This guy is a stud, and I think he got a raw deal in New York. Bad ownership, bad team management. His defenses were always fantastic, which makes sense. He did all he could to figure that offense out, and just couldn't quite get there. So, Tennessee, again, I think I mentioned it on the last show, but at first I was like, don't love it. But the more I looked into it, he's got a young star at QB. They got a crap ton of cap space. They have draft capital. And they got some guys who can play football on that team already. Yeah. And the big thing is he brought in a guy that I've bashed on this podcast.
Wait for that one.
But I love the OC call. He brought in Brian Dabble, and when it comes to developing quarterbacks like Cam Ward, what a play. I mean, it's the guys who do the best, they know what they don't know. And not that Saleh doesn't know it, but like Dabble developed Josh Allen. I mean, that's where Josh Allen kind of rose up to where he is. So, I guess I remember a quote from George Kittle when Saleh was fired by New York and the 49ers were able to bring him in before this last season. George Kittle said that Robert Saleh was the best free agent signing that they had the entire offseason. Of course, he was asked what player, but he's like, best free agent signing, Robert Saleh. Like, guys on offense and defense love him. He's a fantastic clubhouse guy, huge vibes guy, and I'm excited for him in Tennessee. I was sad to see him go, but you only get a couple of chances in this league for most guys. And I think if you're going to take a stab, Tennessee seems like the right play.
On your last point there, you only get a couple of chances. That's why I'm like, ugh, you went to Tennessee? This is coming from the team that fired. Yeah, sorry, there's nothing against you, Matt. But this is a team that just fired the coach that will be playing in the Super Bowl, right? That same Titans? He wasn't good enough for them? So I don't like this for Saleh. I kind of like it for the Niners because we'll get him back in a couple of years. But I think it won't be his fault. That's the shitty thing. I mean, talking about Saleh, what he did for the Jets. When he got fired mid-season, they were still top 5, top 6 defense. They dropped all the way down to 24th after that the rest of the year. I mean, the man knows defense, okay? It's not his fault they were a dumpster fire. And, like, when Rodgers was playing, he was, like, he's an old-ass dude coming off an Achilles tear. he wasn't gonna have a good year. Of course not. So, yeah, I think it's a great hire by them. I just don't believe in the organization itself. They do have a bunch of. I like some of their young receivers actually there too. Love Cam Ward. He definitely got better as the year went on.
He did.
Um, I just I don't know. I worry for Salah because I do like him so much. I'm with you at being like a great hire and whatever. Again, I just do not believe in that organization. I hope to be proven wrong for Salah's sake because I do want him to succeed. But if he doesn't, we'll just take him back again. That's fine with me.
He's always welcome in the Bay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll
Uh,
get along to my last of three then. What? Oh yes. This is the only one where I was like, slam dunk, nice work, and that is John Harbaugh with the Giants. So the Giants, since Tom Coughlin retired and after winning 2 Super Bowls with the Giants, they've hired Ben McAdoo, Steve Spagnuolo, Pat Schumer, Joe Judge, Brian Daboll, and then I guess Mike Kafka kind of as interim. But that's all the coaches they've had in that sense. What, 2016? Like they give up so fast. I don't know what the issue is there, but I think what they did was the opposite in John Harbaugh and stability. Like that, if you give him time, he will be able to create a team, and you give him some talent. The big thing is bringing the right OC in there. I'm guessing he probably wanted to bring what's his face, his old a Monken over if he didn't get hired himself. That was the rumor mill anyway. That was the plan because I think he actually did really well for improving. Like Lamar was already MVP, but he was a better passer once he
yeah.
came on board. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that would have been really great there in New York because I think they have an excellent young group of skill players on offense. Obviously, injuries to 2 of the 3 big ones, and then if old Jackson Dart stops smacking his head against the wall every freaking game, then maybe But I like his moxie. I like what he's got. I think he had a hell of a rookie year, honestly. So I like what they got on offense. I'm not sure. I'm a little confused on the DC hire. They hired the old Titans DC with their defense was dog shit terrible. They were I think 2 years ago they were second in yards allowed or something like that. Like yards weren't bad, but it just last year they were awful.
Yeah.
And so I know he was Harbaugh's old. I'm trying to think of his name. Um, Oh, it's like Denard Wilson, I think. I'm not really familiar with him, but I know he's Harbaugh's DB coach a couple years ago in Baltimore. Hence why I'm guessing that's why he brought him along. So maybe, Tennessee could just be like toxic culture type of thing, and they just didn't have the players there. Again, I think if they get the right guy on offense, OC there, I'm telling you, the Giants, I thought they were going to take a step up last year. And I think without the injuries, I think they had 7 one-score losses last year.
Yeah.
Their record did not dictate how good they played a lot. So I think that was a slam dunk hire, but just calm the shit down, Giants. Give
Yeah.
him a couple of years. If they fire him after 2 years, they should be, I mean, they're the new Jets, Browns, whatever. They should be relegated as a franchise. Like,
Yeah.
they're so, like, impatient. Like, take your freaking time. Sometimes it's not college. These guys are, some of the guys are going to be there more than 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the old Harbaugh hire?
That was one that I had kind of on my list too, and I love it for the Giants. I just with the coaches they've hired, like you mentioned, the coaches that they've hired, the organization as a whole, that GM, I don't know. I think he's skating by the skin of his teeth right now. I think John knows that he could have had the pick of the litter. He must have had a great conversation with ownership. I did hear rumblings that, well, it's not even rumblings. I think it is confirmed that he wanted to have it in writing that he answers to ownership, not to the GM. To me, that's kind of like a little red flagish, but they put it in his agreement. Um, which is kind of weird, but that's good. John Harbaugh knows how to run a football team.
Yeah.
I think if Cam Scatterbo didn't get injured, if Malik Neighbors could have stuck around, when Jackson Dart started playing in football games, they had a whole different, they were kind of scary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You
didn't want to go against them.
No, and I think Dart and Scatterbo have this relationship that's so cool. I mean, they do all the corny poses for the gram and all that kind of stuff. And Malik Neighbors is electric. I am excited for Harbaugh to get those guys back on the field, see what he does with the defense. You were high on the Giants this year due to their defensive line. I think that could be a quick turnaround, and unfortunately for us, they're in the NFC. Us being Niners fans, not you and me personally, yes. But yeah, I'm super intrigued by that as well. I think if you give Harbaugh enough control, which those Harbaughs, they love their control, but they deserve it because they've shown that they can.
Sure,
they should get it. And I think GMs don't like that. We had a little GM friction with Jim and Trent Baalke in San Francisco. So, I think they like to have the things done the way they want, but I agree with you. Great hire by New York. And I think John, with that offense, they could be rising pretty quickly in the NFC East. I'll go to my third here real quick to kind of wrap it up. I'm going to go Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. Super intriguing to me. Why? Because why change? Why change your identity? Stay true to yourself, Pittsburgh. You just keep being mid, keep being, they say the traffic's lighter when you're soaring high above the clouds, but screw that. You want to be down in the muck of mediocrity. You want to be dodging, traffic coming at you. You want to be fighting through the middle of the pack, why? I mean, why take your chances on something awesome when you could something bad could happen? So you take the safe hire and just stay average and comfortable. I mean, why would you want to look outside a guy who's been around for 1,000,000 years? Just keep that floor at mid-level. But here's why I'm intrigued by it. I'm not impressed by it, but I'm intrigued by it. I think that with the state, with Tomlin, Tomlin's still under contract. So they didn't fire him. He's still under contract. If he's going to go somewhere else, I think he has to be traded for. So they kind of had to make a move. It wasn't them saying we need to change directions here. I think the way I understood it, he stepped away. So they had to make a hire. In my opinion, this hire was based on we have to stop leaking oil. And I think the last couple of years they've tapered off a little bit. This year was not super impressive. They got into the playoffs by a missed field goal. Tomlin, quite frankly, has been pretty average, albeit made the playoffs a bunch of times, and he's always in the hunt for as long as he's been there. And I think that they made the hire based off of we cannot go backwards. We have to at least stay where we're at. McCarthy's,
exactly, I think so too.
McCarthy's he's gonna be the guy who gets you 9, 10, 11 wins, get into the playoffs. Now, is he going to take them to the promised land? I don't know. He's got one Super Bowl win in 16 seasons. And 11 of those seasons, he had, your words, the greatest thrower of the football that the NFL has ever seen in Aaron Rodgers, and he won one Super Bowl. And there's a lot of people in Packer Nation, not me, but a lot of people in that fan base are saying we should have won many more Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay with Mike McCarthy.
They should have.
So I think for what the hire was for, which was to not regress, but keep their standard and keep stability, I think they brought McCarthy in, which I think is fine. What I'm intrigued by is Mike McCarthy going to Aaron Rodgers? Is he coming back? We don't know. Is he going to be able to get a quarterback, develop them, get that offense rolling with those weapons that they have, keep the defense where it's at, and take it to the next level? Because right now they're just paddling a boat, and they might get into a wild card or sneak into a lower seed and get eliminated in the wild card or divisional round. Is McCarthy going to take him to the next level? I don't know. Is he going to win a Super Bowl? I have no idea. But very intriguing hire, and a guy who was ousted in Dallas, was awful at clock management. So that's kind of I just want to see what he does. I know you've told me, you're like, I don't love that situation. I don't love Pittsburgh as a attractive place to go right now. They bring in McCarthy. He seems pumped. He's a local guy. Everybody loves him in Pittsburgh. Those are my thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, kind of similar mindset as you. I mean, I can see it's totally backwards from what they've been doing the last few hires. Obviously, they they keep guys forever, and so hiring a 64-year-old guy instead of like or 60, whatever he is, I think that's about
He's
right.
over 60. I know
rather than hiring a couple of rather than hiring a couple of 30-year-olds that they hold on to forever, seems a little backwards. And I will say that McCarthy's offenses throughout his time, like what he did with Dak Prescott, like I think that was like his last year in Dallas was not his fault. That defense sucked, it was decimated, I think Jerry Jones is a fucking moron. So like I'm not blaming him for anything that happened in Dallas. So I think he's a good offensive mind. I think as far as loyalty goes, obviously, like you said, he's a Pittsburgh guy. So he was clearly pretty emotional when he got hired in the press conference. I like that for him. But the only thing is, like, I guess it kind of makes me think they're definitely going to bring Aaron Rodgers back for one more year at least. Because I think even if they believe in, like, oh, God, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. What they got that 7th round rookie, what's his face? God, I'm drawing blanks on names all day today. Will Howard out of Ohio State.
I was going to say Ohio State. Yeah. I couldn't remember his name either, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they got, and like rumors are that they believe in him. But I don't know. McCarthy seems to do well with quarterbacks. Maybe they think they can develop him. If not, they keep finishing middle of the pack, reaching the playoffs, so they're never getting those high first round picks. I think they need to make some moves and trade for someone. I think their smartest bet is probably to draft someone, trade up, draft someone, bring Aaron Rodgers back. But then again, they had the most expensive defense that was mediocre last year. So I don't know. It seems like you need to wipe the slate clean there. So hiring a 64-year-old head coach, like, are you willing to give him some time? Since it's Pittsburgh, obviously they are. I don't know how long he'll last. I mean, he's not, mid-60s. He's not that old, obviously, for head coach. Coaches last a lot longer than that, but you'd think you'd want some guy in the 40s and 50s just because of the way what they're used to. So I'm with you with your initial like comments. Like, I guess we just want to stay the same.
Yeah,
I could see Pittsburgh next year 9-8, 8-9.
Yeah.
But that's depending on who they have at quarterback. I don't know. Like I said, Will Howard, they develop him. They think I made some progress after this year, and maybe another year sitting behind Rodgers will do him good. I mean, I guess some people said that worked for Jordan Love. You know my opinion on that. I don't think it did. But I don't know. I'm confused on that one. He was going to be one of my intriguing ones too. He was on the borderline for me. I thought that was an interesting hire. Definitely like came out of left field compared to what typical Pittsburgh is.
Well, just so, I mean, you got these guys hiring, coordinators, young guys, getting promoted, getting moved around, and you bring a guy who's, we talk about sometimes you only get 2 chances in the NFL, and this guy's he's on his 3rd team now, and I'd have to look it up, but I don't know how many head coaches get 3 chances to be head coaches, and he had a good run in Green Bay. They ran north. Yeah. I mean, granted, the Lions sucked, the Bears sucked. The Vikings were not great.
Okay, sometimes.
But 8 straight playoff appearances with one team, I think that's a record. I think he's the only coach to ever do it. So he'll get you to the starting line of the playoffs, but will he get you to that next spot? That is going to remain to be seen. But yeah, it's you're used to seeing these like young guys who can like, bench 250 with ease with the tight like hoodies on, and then you're going to have McCarthy out there who's been around the league for 30 years. And but
you better
we'll
not be wearing any tight shirts. No.
Yeah, please no. Please no. Please no.
Don't.
Well, that's going to do us on this edition of High Fiber Sports. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you think about these coaching hires or any other ones you got going on. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to throw it to Brad. Brad, take us home, brother.
All right, like Doug said, love to have you guys on. Appreciate those that watch, and for those regulars that keep tabs on all of our episodes, I might have made a very stupid bet in the NFC Championship game where I went Rams -6.5. And the punishment is I have to shave a certain whatever design you guys pick in my chest hair, but I thought it might be fun. Leave it up to us, the subscribers. You guys tell me what you want me to shave in the chest hair. Get enough comments on here, I will do it. Not the whole episode. Well, maybe, depending on how well I do with the shaving process. But tune in. Maybe you're going to see my titties.